Please welcome the director of the Principles That Matter Project, Alan Fuller.
Good evening. Tonight we celebrate progress made by the conservative movement and reaffirm our principles in the face of new challenges. We also honor leaders who have led the charge by standing firm in their beliefs while tirelessly working to share our principles with others. At the Centennial Institute, we are unshakable on principle, but realize that the world is changing and how we communicate our principles must serve the needs of people who may have never heard them before. This challenge was the genesis of Principles That Matter, the project I lead and want to tell you a little bit about this evening. Through Principles That Matter, we are committed to sharing the timeless principles of America's founding with today's modern citizens. Leveraging social media, thoughtful content, and careful analysis, our effort highlights the great chasm between timeless ideas and liberal ideology. The cornerstone of conservative ideas is a belief that government's job isn't to define our rights, but to protect our rights. And when we accept that view, we understand that rights are not based on executive orders, legislative action, or bureaucratic regulation. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness are rights granted by God and reaffirmed by our every breath. If we truly believe that, then we joyfully accept and celebrate the limitless potential of every human being. We believe with all our hearts that every man and woman has the God-given opportunity to pursue their dreams without restriction, so long as they don't interfere with the rights of others. But unfortunately, too many people today believe that empowering the dreams of one person requires ripping opportunity from another. They believe laws apply differently to different people, not realizing that creates a shaky and unfair playing field. They believe people are not to be trusted and must be regulated. One of the great tragedies of our modern society is the myth that the only solution to big problems is a government solution. Unfortunately, as our society has accepted this myth, we have paid a predictable price. Government boondoggles create one train wreck after another, and it becomes more critical than ever to share why conservative ideas work. But how do you begin to share ideas that sometimes seem out of touch with a generation that watches hours of TV on their phone, with citizens who get their perspective from 140 characters instead of Aristotle? How do you fight a lifetime of being told that truth is relative, trust is dead, and if it feels good, do it? These questions create conflict among conservatives, setting us at odds between those who say we must hold fast to our principles and those who say we must expand our coalition. At Principles That Matter, we reject the notion that those objectives are mutually exclusive. In fact, they are not. Each depends on the other. As conservative leaders, people who would spend Independence Day weekend at the summit instead of a park, we have a dual burden to carry. We must stand firm on the foundation of principles that have changed the world and brought millions into the light of freedom. But it is not enough to carry those ideas alone. We must also carry our principles to others with compassion, with empathy, with patience. How we communicate our principles is just as important as why we believe in them in the first place. In our research, when we talk to people who once had liberal views, but today are active conservatives, we ask them, what happened? What caused you to change your entire worldview? The answer we hear over and over again is this: I realized the world was not as I had been told it was. To meet Coloradans who are also questioning if the world is indeed as they have been told it was, we've created a number of programs, including a website called Thought.buzz. Thought.buzz is a website where we reach thousands of Coloradans each month, giving them a place to discover conservative ideas on their terms. We're proud of our efforts and our progress, but we're largely inspired by the work of the pioneers who have gone before us. One of our greatest inspirations is the gentleman we honor tonight with this award. And as Jeff mentioned a moment ago, your program says this award we're presenting is the Stephen H. Long Award. But this year, it just seemed right that it was the time to extend the legacy we honor. And this evening, that's why we're presenting our honoree with the inaugural William L. Armstrong Award. This weekend, we've talked quite a bit about the legacy of President Armstrong, his unwavering commitment to serving his state, his family, his principles, and most importantly, his creator. Senator Bill Armstrong brought conservative energy and resolve to Washington even before Ronald Reagan was sworn in as president. And over the past few years, he has revitalized Colorado Christian University to establish it as a landmark institution in our state and nationally. But perhaps the greatest legacy President Armstrong has left with us is his family, his children and grandchildren who continue his commitment to service and principle today with energy and dedication. Tireless energy and dedication to the principles of virtue and liberty are also described the work of tonight's honoree. A talk radio host since 1982, his program can be heard locally on 710 KNUS. He's the author of 7 books and has spoken around the world to thousands about conservative values. In addition to these achievements, he writes a syndicated column. And over the past 5 years, he has been devoted to reaching modern citizens through new channels. Videos created through his effort, PragerU, have garnered more than 73 million views just this year. Covering topics like history, philosophy, religion, economics, and psychology, PragerU's vision is to help millions of people understand the fundamental values that shape America and provide them with the intellectual ammunition they need to defend and spread those values. PragerU is described as a resource for every American and every person in the world who values liberty, for understanding and explaining the values we share. His passion and work have led none other than the Los Angeles Times to call him an amazingly gifted man and moralist whose mission in life has been crystallized to get people obsessed with what is right and wrong. For his record of dedication to conservative principles, principles that truly matter, and his continuing innovation to find new ways to share those principles in the pioneering spirit of Stephen Long and Bill Armstrong, please join me in welcoming the recipient of the inaugural William L. Armstrong Award, Dennis Prager.